What creates a monster? Power or fear? What if history's most hated ruler did not begin as a devil, but as a boy raised inside a world where love was conditional, trust was dangerous, and weakness meant death? Nero is remembered as a tyrant, a man blamed for cruelty, vanity, and chaos, a ruler whose name became a symbol of excess and madness. But men like Nero do not appear from nowhere. They are shaped, pressured, watched, used. Before he became emperor of Rome, Nero was a child born into ambition. Before the cruelty, there was insecurity. Before the fire, there was a fragile mind trapped inside the most ruthless court in the ancient world. This is not the story of how Nero ruled Rome. This is the story of how Rome may have created Nero. Nero was born in 37 AD as Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. He did not enter a peaceful home. He entered a bloodline already tangled in politics, pride, and suspicion. His father had a reputation for brutality and arrogance. His mother, Agrippina the Younger, was ambitious, intelligent, and deeply connected to Rome's ruling family. This meant Nero was not raised like an ordinary child. From the beginning, he belonged to a dangerous game. In Rome, family was never just family. A mother could be a protector, but also a strategist. A child could be loved, but also positioned. Nero grew up in a world where identity was unstable. Was he a son, a pawn, a future weapon? For a child, that confusion matters. Because when affection is mixed with ambition, a young mind learns an early lesson. You are valued not for who you are, but for what you can become. Nero's early years were marked by instability. His father died when he was still very young. Then political tides turned against his mother. Agrippina was exiled, and Nero, still a child, was left exposed. To lose a parent is one wound. To lose security at the same time is another, and to grow up in Rome's imperial family meant that loss was never private, it was political. Imagine learning, as a boy, that safety can vanish overnight, that power decides who stays close and who disappears, that even your mother can be torn away by forces larger than love. These are the kinds of fractures that do not always show on the surface. Sometimes they returned later as paranoia, sometimes as rage, sometimes as the desperate need to control every room, every face, every threat. Nero may have learned one of Rome's darkest lessons early. If you do not control your world will destroy you. Nero's life changed when Agrippina returned. She did not come back powerless. She came back with purpose. She married Emperor Claudius, re-entered the center of Roman power, and began reshaping Nero's future. Her son was no longer just a boy from a troubled household. He was now being prepared for the throne. Nero was adopted by Claudius. His name changed. His status changed. His future hardened. But sudden elevation can be as damaging as early rejection, because now the child who once felt vulnerable was told he was destined for greatness. That kind of transformation can distort the mind, especially when it is driven not by inner maturity, but by the ambitions of others. Nero did not rise naturally. He was engineered upward. And when a person is pushed into destiny before building character, power can become performance, a mask, a shield, a stage. At just 16 years old, Nero became emperor. He was young, admired, and at first promising. The early years of his reign were more stable than many expected. Guided by advisors like Seneca and Burrus, Nero seemed capable of restraint. But youth on a throne is dangerous when the throne sits on fear. Behind the image of a golden beginning, pressure was building. Rome expected strength. The court expected obedience. Agrippina expected influence. And Nero, still psychologically unfinished, stood at the center of it all. Power did not calm his inner insecurity, it magnified it. Because authority does not heal a fractured identity, it only gives that fracture more room to act. The boy who once feared being controlled now had the power to remove anyone who threatened him. And once a ruler begins to see disagreement as danger, cruelty starts to feel like self-defense. As Nero's rule continued, the relationship between fear and power became darker. His bond with Agrippina deteriorated. The mother who helped place him on the throne became, in his eyes, a threat to his independence. What followed was one of the most infamous ruptures in Roman history. Nero was widely believed to have arranged her death. Whether driven by panic, resentment, or a desperate need to escape her control, the act marked a psychological crossing. Once someone destroys the person who shaped them, something changes. After that, Nero's rule grew harsher. Opposition became suspicion, suspicion became punishment, and power became more theatrical, more self-obsessed, more detached from consequence. He wanted admiration not just as ruler, but as performer, artist, and icon. And when reality failed to worship him, force could fill the gap. This is often how unstable power evolves. It begins with insecurity. Then it demands loyalty. Then eventually, it cannot tell the difference between criticism and betrayal. Then came disaster. In 64 AD, the Great Fire of Rome tore through the city. Ancient sources would forever link Nero to the catastrophe, though the truth remains debated. What matters is not only what happened, it is what the fire revealed. A ruler already seen as unstable became even more distrusted. Rumors spread, fear deepened, and Nero responded not with reassurance, but with more control. The distance between emperor and people widened. So did the distance between Nero and reality. By the end, rebellions rose against him. Allies abandoned him. The image of absolute power collapsed into panic and isolation. And that is the final cruelty of fear-driven rule. It promises protection, but often ends in loneliness. Nero had spent much of his life trying not to be powerless. Yet in the end, he faced the one thing he could never dominate: the collapse of the world he tried to control. Nero's story is often told as the story of a mad emperor. But that version is too simple. He was also a warning about what happens when a child is raised inside manipulation, when affection becomes strategy, when fear becomes identity, when power arrives before emotional maturity. This does not excuse what Nero became, but it may explain part of how he got there. Because history's darkest figures are rarely born fully formed. They are built slowly by family, by trauma, by pressure, by systems that reward performance over character. Nero ruled Rome, but he was also one of Rome's creations. And maybe that is the most disturbing part of all, because the shadow behind a tyrant is often larger than the tyrant himself.